How's it going, everybody? I'm gonna see if I can share my screen here. Presentation. Hit the sidebar here. Open share menu. Sorry, guys. I'm just getting set up here still. Hey, I see Callan here as well. Callan, I was on a call with you yesterday. Great chatting with you. Okay, so you guys have questions. Hopefully, you have questions. I'm going to actually disable the chat for now. It's great to see all you guys. We're going to hold the questions all the way to the end. Um, 1 second, so that we don't miss anything. And I would hate to miss anything. Actually, before I even do that, can you guys give me a thumbs up and let me know you guys see my screen right now? Are we good here? Okay.
I could see it.
Awesome. Okay, I am going to hold off on the chat for now. Yeah, let's get started here. All right, well, how's it going, everybody? My name is Jesse, and this is Kevin.
Hi, everyone.
We are on different sides of the globe right now. We're going to be doing pretty much a live demo of Pebble here today. And I know some of you guys have gotten signed up with Pebble, which is awesome, and have started sending out mailers already. And for those of you guys who aren't really sure what Pebble is, it says here on the screen, it's an automation and tracking app for land investors. So with our goal of Pebble here, we're here to help you automate and scale your land investing business by streamlining the process that you already have in place. So a lot of you guys are using different systems, and Pebble is able to work alongside with a lot of those different systems that you guys are involved with. And we'll talk a little bit about that during the demo. So as for today's webinar agenda, we're going to try to save a chunk of time for Q&A. So we will be doing a walkthrough of Pebble. And what that is we're going to be going through setting up what we call a campaign and sort of push out mailing. Then we're going to, during that whole time, we're going to also show how the document editor functions and works. You might have some questions along the way, so jot those down so you don't forget those questions. So if you have a pen and paper or a notepad on your computer or whatever it might be, jot those down. Now, sorry, I'm going to cut in here. If you guys are attending on mobile, I think the mobile version, there's different menus, so you can see my face, but then there's a menu to see the actual screen. I'm actually screen sharing right now. So if you're just seeing our faces, make sure you navigate around inside the live webinar app to get to the share screen. Oops. Okay, we'll also be talking about the seller and buyer leads and how that works. So how all those leads are actually channeled into Pebble and allows you to, again, streamline everything inside of Pebble. And Pebble really becomes sort of that hub or that centralized location to manage your entire land investing business. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to talk about integrations, and we have an example that Kevin's going to be sharing as well as what he's actually doing. At the very end, we've got a little bit of a surprise for you guys, the early birds who are psyched about getting your land investing automated and offloading a lot of this repetitive tasks and hours spent on doing things that can and should be automated. So we do have an early bird offer for you guys at the end. And then obviously we are going to do a Q&A. Okay. I'm going to get out of the screen share here. Kevin, do you want to share your screen and start off with yours? I'd like to see. Let me stop sharing. Okay.
Okay, let me share. Okay. Can you see that okay, Jesse?
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Yep.
Okay, so what I'm going to demo here today is just very basic. We're going to walk through the registration process, and that will kind of show what you will see if you go and sign up for Pebble today, and hopefully answer any questions that you might have as you walk through that process yourself. And then we'll kind of show you how the app works and how what we think is kind of the some of the killer features. So I've gone here to Pebble. This is the sign up screen that you'll see when you sign up for an account. So we'll click register here. The first thing you're going to see is a beautiful video of Jesse. So you can watch that. And then we'll just click let's go here. So the first thing we want to do is add an address. So this is the address that's going to be the return address on all your mailers. So it does need to be a deliverable address, and we'll check that it is when you type this in. So let's check.
You're essentially just setting up your sort of account at this point in time.
Exactly, yeah.
And we sort of broken that up into some digestible steps for you guys to kind of work through.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's see if this one works. Whoop. 20 East St. Charles Place, number 2, I think. Hold on. Why isn't this working? This is an old address of mine, and now I can't remember what it is. 24 East St. Charles Place? 48 East St. Charles.
What if we use that? Wasn't it deliverable before? Or
oh yes, I'm on staging. Sorry about that. This would work on production, but I'm on the staging service. I'm on our staging server.
And so this is sort of our testing side of things.
Sorry about that. Yes, so a virtualized there. It would have worked if I was on the actual production server. So I'll just type deliverable. That'll work. Okay. So after we type in an address, we're going to pick an offer letter. So most people are doing either a blind offer letter where you have a cash price that you're putting on your offers, or you're doing a neutral letter, which is just a generic sort of contact me if you want to sell your property. So I'll do a blind offer letter here. And the first thing we'll do is just give our blind offer a name. We'll just leave this my blind offer letter. And then now we're going to get a template editor. And this is what's going to let us customize our offer letter to our business. So if I had my website, I might type that in here. And then you probably want to just go through here and customize this to the way that you want to show it on your for your business. So you can upload a logo here. You can
upload a signature.
Upload a signature. You can put in an image of any kind if you want. Just know that this area here is where the address is going to be printed on your letter, and that's what'll show through the little window area in the mailer. So this is the only area where you can't put things, but you can put things over here and down here, and then change that up however you like. The other thing you'll notice is that we've got some what we call placeholders. So anywhere you see these little double squiggly lines, that's where we're going to insert the data that comes from your list. So each property is going to put their APN in here, the county's name, and then like the owner address and anything like that. And if you want to see other available placeholders, you can just click this insert placeholder up here, and you'll see all the placeholders that are available for this template. And then
sorry, a quick comment about those placeholders. Those placeholders do not need to be the same header field in your property list. The next step will actually be assigning your headers to these placeholders, so you don't need to worry about that until so your list doesn't need to have those exact placeholder labels.
Yep, good point. So once you've got your purchase agreement in place, what you can do is just click this preview button. And this is just going to generate an example document using just some fake property data, and it'll download an offer to your computer, and so you can just review that everything looks correct here, that the address is showing up, that all the things are lined up, and that you've got everything on the pages that you see. Just keep in mind that if you end up typing in some extra information up here, it's possible that the content could roll onto another page. So just keep that in mind as you're previewing. Just make sure that everything's fitting on the 2 pages if you're looking for a 2-page letter. So once everything looks good with the preview, you can just click next here.
Sorry, one more thing I wanted to mention is if you also wanted to use your own completely owned letter, you can absolutely do so. You'll just delete whatever you want to delete and paste in whatever letter you had as well. So I know It sounds like a given, but I know a lot of people sort of wonder about that as well. So you can definitely use your own letters and just replace that text there.
Yep. Just make sure that the placeholder names are correct, and then
So you would go ahead and change those placeholders with what you were doing with the drop down there, right?
Exactly. So next step after you've got your template in place is to create a campaign. So this one's we'll just call this my first campaign, and then we'll do a mail type. So the cheapest option is UPS standard or USPS standard. This is going to take, I think it's like a couple weeks from start to finish to actually land in an inbox. So if you're not on a time crunch, that's probably the cheapest way to go. If you do first class, this is like a 3 to 5 days, and so it's a much quicker turnaround than the standard, but it does cost a few more, and I can show you where you see those mail prices. So we'll just keep this USPS standard. You'll do black or white or color. So if you have a color image and you just want that printed there, you can do color. Again, color is just a bit more expensive than black and white, so we'll leave it black and white. And then this one down here, this daily send count, this is a pretty cool feature of Pebble where we can send out mailers kind of on a drip every day. So if I set this to 100 mailers, that means that every evening Pebble is going to send 100 letters for this campaign. And so if you had 500 letters, it would take, or if you had 500 offers in your campaign, it would take 5 days for that campaign to send out. And this just helps you kind of smooth out that seller lead generation. I know sometimes when I've sent 1,000 letters out, I'll get it seems like I get 20 calls in a day, and then it drops off pretty quick. So it's helpful to kind of smooth out those leads. So this is what that'll do.
I do want to mention, and I think it's worth noting, there's other services out there that do discuss that they do have a daily send count. It isn't all equal or same. There are services out there that will actually batch everything at the end of the week.
Right.
It says it's a daily send.
Yes.
With what we're doing here, this is an actual daily send. It's not like it's going to arrive the next day, but it is every day you are sending out a new batch. So it's a true daily send count.
Exactly. Yeah, good point. Okay, so once you're happy with that, you'll just click next, and I'll show you how we can change this later on as well. Okay, so the next step is to import your list. So whether this is a list from a county or from Data Tree or Agent Pro 247, we support a few different types of lists here. So the first thing you'll grab is specify what county this list is coming from. So in my case, I've got a Santa Fe County, New Mexico. So I'll select that. And then I'll choose the source. So in my case, I've got a list that's coming from Data Tree. And this just helps you on the next step. Basically, we know what the column names are that come from Data Tree. So as long as you haven't changed those in your spreadsheet, we'll automatically select the correct columns that match up to the way Pebble wants them. And the same with Agent Pro 247. But if you just created your own spreadsheet, or you or you're cleaning up something from the county, you can just select custom here. Excuse me. So I'll keep it as data tree, and then I'll select that list file. Let's go down here to downloads, and I've got my Santa Fe price list here. So I'll select that, and then we'll click next. So this is going to upload the list, and it's going to read all of the columns in your list. So if you click the drop down here, these are all the columns that came from your spreadsheet. And this step of the process just allows you to match up what Pebble wants. So in this case, this is Pebble's APN, and you want to match it up to your list's APN. A couple things to note here. The only fields that are required are the APN, the owner's name, and the owner's address. So anything else here, you can just leave blank. If you just select this top one, you can just leave those blank if your spreadsheet doesn't have that. And then, yeah, so you can basically leave everything blank except these little red star ones. And then the last one I want to select is this offer price. My spreadsheet has it named, where is it? It's way down here. Sorry, data tree gives you like 1,000 columns. So I've got a column in my spreadsheet called offer price, so I'll just select that there. And just one thing to note, if you're creating a spreadsheet from scratch and you just want these to automatically line up, you can just copy these names and put them in your spreadsheet as the column names, and then Pebble will automatically match those up. So that's just something to know if you're looking to do that. Okay, so once you're happy with that, you'll click next, and now it's going to import your spreadsheet, and it'll tell you how many it's doing.
Go, go, go.
Go, go. Okay. So it says it's imported 396 of 398 rows. So my spreadsheet had 398 properties in there. And it's just going to tell me that I've got a couple rows in there where it couldn't import them because there was missing data. So in this case, we're missing a couple addresses on the spreadsheet. So what you can do at this point is I could go back into my spreadsheet and I could edit the fields so that I correct this and get those addresses typed in there correctly. And then I can just click retry and then upload the corrected list and then click next, and then it'll import again and hopefully fix those two errors. In this case, I don't care that I missed a couple there, so I'm just going to click finish. And now we're done. So we've just finished the full onboarding process of Pebble. And so the last step is to just go in and view our campaign. So here's the campaign. Here's all the rows that we've imported. A couple things to note here. We've got each property in Pebble generates this unique code. And this can be really helpful to put on your mailers so that when somebody calls you and is saying, I own 5 acres out in Santa Fe, and you have no idea who this is, maybe it's like the daughter of the person that owns it, you can just say, hey, give me the little code at the top of your letter, and then this will let you kind of look up this property very quickly. So you can sort of review what you've got here, check that your offers are correct, and you can also do another preview here. So if you just want to check what a offer is going to look like, you can check that and just make sure that everything's looking good, which it is. You can also send an individual letter straight away. So if you're, we're going to ask you to sign up to do that. But once you're signed up, you can click send now, and that'll just send an individual one. But what you'll probably want to do is click this activate button here. And that's what basically turns on this daily send count. So as soon as your campaign is activated, every evening it's going to pull 100 rows here, just in order, and send those mailers. So if I check back here, if I clicked activate, then check back here tomorrow, I would see that 100 of these rows would either say sent, or they would say that there was some issue with sending them. Like we check that the address is deliverable before we send them. Excuse me. So if there's any deliverability problems, we'll tell you that there was an issue sending, and to either correct the address or just ignore it at that point.
And it's also worth noting with any address that is not deliverable, even though you have it here on your list, that letter will just not send, and you will not get charged for that.
Correct.
For any of undeliverables, you will not get charged for it.
Yep, you only get charged for ones that actually go out. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you think, Jesse? Should I hop over to maybe properties and see?
Yeah, actually, yeah. I didn't have that on the agenda there. Let's talk about the properties very quickly here.
Okay, sure. So we've got campaigns, and I can just go over here. So you can see my first campaign. We've got this little progress bar. As this thing goes out, you'll see this progress bar advance. But then we've got this properties page, and this is kind of where all of your detailed information about your property live. So let's just say, for example, 2 weeks from now, a letter has been delivered, and let's say this Joe Brooks guy calls me, and so Joe calls me up on the phone, and he's like, "Hey, Kevin, I got your letter, and I want to sell you my property." So what I can do is I can ask Joe for his offer code. So in this case, it's 7ZNAQ. You don't even have to type in the whole thing. If you just grab a couple letters, you can just filter it that way. And I can say, okay, there's his offer code here. So I can click that. And then this will quickly bring up information about his property, including a little map of where his property is located. It's got all the information from the spreadsheet that we uploaded. And then we've got basically a stage of a list of stages that this property is in. So by default, everything's going to be in this imported stage. And then if I talk to Joe and I want to move this over to due diligence, I can click that. It'll bring it over to due diligence. And then I can basically walk this through my workflow. These stages are all customizable to your business. So you can go over here to the settings panel and change these to however you like.
You can have as many as you'd like as well.
Exactly. Yep. So you can do, no matter how complicated your process is, you can have stages in there that sort of represent that. So if Joe's calling me and he wants to sell me this property, I can go over here to the sellers tab. And if I'm like talking on the phone with him, I can click this add seller. So I'll say, Joe wants to sell me his property, and I can ask him for his email, maybe his phone number. And then I'll just say that I got a phone call from him. And then as I'm talking to Joe, I can say, Joe wants $200. And he's not sure about back taxes. So I can just make notes here about Joe and his situation. I can copy down all of his information here. And then after I'm done talking to him, I can just click save. And then we've got his information kind of listed here that I can come back and see later.
This is actually a good segue into me talking a little bit about this seller leads. But okay. Before I cut you off, is there anything else you wanted to show inside the properties area?
Yes, there is. So once you hop over, once you talk to, let's say I've talked to Joe, and I now want to start doing some due diligence. Typically, what I do in my process is I want to make sure that I've got the lot lines correct. So I'll go over here to map, and by default, Pebble is just going to draw a 1 acre square around the latitude and longitude that you give. In your import. But what you'll probably want to do is either look up on the county's GIS maps, or sometimes Google even has the property lines here. So I can click over to this map thing, and you can actually see that Google has, for this area, these property lines. So I can just drag this map over here. We'll just mimic the Google property lines. And the cool thing about this map is sometimes you get like really weird looking properties. So let's say that there's like a chunk cut out here of the property. I can just go in here and move these dots around, and let's say the property looks something like this or something. I don't know, something weird. We can actually go in and customize this to look exactly how the county has it, or exactly what we figure out. So we'll click Save Changes there. And now that map will update to reflect our new property. Another great thing about this is once you get your property lines in there, you can click this download KML file. I know a lot of our customers, and I do as well, use Google Maps to kind of do the 3D kind of aerial shots of the property. And when you download this KML file, it basically just takes this shape and puts it into a file that you can open right in Google Maps. So you download that, and then you can just click, we'll just save it here. And then if I just click this, it'll open right up in Google Maps with the same property line that I drew.
Google Earth, right?
Yeah, sorry, Google Earth. Yeah, Google Earth, right. And almost every mapping tool uses these KML files. So if you're not using Google Earth, if you've got some other mapping tool, it should be able to read that KML file. Another quick thing is images. So we can add images for our property. And this can just be helpful when we're ready to go and list it later on. So we'll just let those process there. So we've got our images. Maybe we send a photographer out there to take some photos. And then we've got documents. Now, documents is I think a really killer feature of Pebble, and one that saves me a ton of time. So let's say that I do some due diligence on this property, and I decide that I'm going to buy this property from Joe. So in order to do that, I probably need to generate a purchase contract. So I can click Add Document here, and it's going to ask me to select a template. So just like we saw a template for our offer letter, we also have templates for basically any document that we want to generate. So we've got templates for a sale and purchase contract, some warranty deeds, neighbor letters, and these are basically unlimited. So you can create as many of these as you want. If you work in different states, so you've got like a Texas purchase contract versus a New Mexico purchase contract, you could just create 2 of those. Everything lives under this little templates page here. So in this case, I'll create a inbound sale and purchase contract. That means it's coming to me inbound. So I'll just click that, and this is going to bring us to the next page where it will automatically fill out all of the information that that Pebble knows about this property. So we've got the county, APN, property code, legal description, the offer that I gave on my original offer letter. It's going to pre-type that in here. It's going to put the seller name, which I can then update if I need to. So let's say it's Joe and his wife. I can say Joe Brooks and Mary Brooks, husband and wife. And then I can add 2 signature lines. We have Mary Brooks here, and then I can type in Joe and Mary here. And then if I've got his phone, I can type
all
that
the
in.
information is from that list that you uploaded. So the more that you have on that list, the better that this will get filled out as well.
Exactly. Yep. And again, I can click Preview here, and it will show me what my purchase contract is going to look like. So it's got the price in there. I've got a little buyers and sellers table. Of course, I can go in here and change this in my template editor if I need to. And then my 2 signature lines for Joe and Mary. So once you're good with that, you can just click Save here. That's now going to save this document for you in your document list. And then I can either download this and send it to Joe via email to have him sign it, or maybe I've got a signing service that I use. Another thing that I can also do is use this Send Mailing button, and this will let me actually mail this contract to him. So I could fill out Joe's address here and click Send, and that will go directly to Joe, and he can sign it and mail it back to me. So however your business runs, whether you're doing digital signatures or handwritten signatures, we sort of let you do that. And then when I come back to my documents list, I'll always see this here so I can view and download it. Presumably at some point I'm going to have like a warranty deed, maybe a like a terms deal if I end up selling this. So all my contracts that are associated with this property will be listed here.
Awesome. And it's I guess it's also worth noting when you're sending out just that one document, say you're sending out that purchase contract as a physical letter, the rates stay the same. So there's no minimum or maximum that you need to have. All of the rates stay the same, whether you're sending one letter to 100 in a day, or all the rates will stay the same.
Yeah, good point.
Okay, well, why don't I jump in here and sort of talk a little bit about, let me see if I can share my screen.
Yep, I'll stop sharing.
Share screen. Kevin, do you see my screen there?
Yes, I do. Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. So far we talked about getting a mailing campaign out there, uploading your list. What else? We talked about the document editor. We talked about the properties panel where you can actually view the property information and everything associated with that property. Now, there are obviously two major parts associated with every property, and that's sellers and the buyer, right? So with I'm going to talk about the seller side of things. So how the seller side works or seller leads works is that whenever somebody, say, gives you a call, you saw earlier, you can manually add a seller here. So let's just say, Josephine called and she wants to sell her property to you. You're going to quickly look that property up. Let's just say she gave you, her name, right? We don't have anything else but her name. So we can actually type that in. It'll do a live search. Or let's say she gives you the code over the phone. We can type that in, and you can find that property right away. And essentially what we're doing here is we're assigning that seller to that exact property. We'll write whatever email.com and whatever their phone number is. And let's say they gave us a call by phone. So that's one way that we can bring in sellers. The other way is a more automated way. So if you have a website, you can actually bring in. So if you're using something like REI Land Leads, you can actually bring those sellers right into Pebble directly from your site. So how that works, let's say here I have Land Leads showing up here, and we actually have a special form for those of you that are going to use Pebble. They would come to your site, they would input their name, email, phone, and the property code, and submit this to you. And that will actually come into what we call our inbox. So essentially what we're looking at here is almost like an email inbox for all your sellers. Now, the way that it actually comes in here is by this email address. So when you open up a Pebble account, you will actually be given a seller inbox email address. Mm-hmm. And essentially this email I will assign to my form. So in the back end of Land Leads here, we can tell our forms to send us a notification to an email to notify us when a lead comes in or when a seller leads come in. And essentially that email will come right into your inbox here. And for example, this would be how it would look like. It would come in, they would have submitted their name, their email, their phone number, and then their property code, which was on that letter that you sent out. The beauty of this is Pebble is able to actually parse out that information. So Pebble will actually look for the name, it'll look for the email, look for the phone number and the property code automatically, and then assign it to that property that it knows it belongs to. So it'll look for this exact property. So when you come to this actual seller lead inside your seller inbox here, you'll see that it came from your website, and then at that point, you'll be able to quickly view all that information, and then you can start viewing the property itself and go into the due diligence stage of sort of researching that property.
Mm-hmm.
Did I cover everything there, Kevin?
Yeah, and I think one thing to note, you'll remember when I was demoing the buyer and seller side, I was doing it through the individual property. So
Right.
there's basically two ways that you can manage that. If you know the property they're talking about, you can go look it up in your properties list and
Right.
add the buyer lead or the seller lead through there.
Exactly.
But in a lot of cases, you don't necessarily know what property they're talking about, or maybe it's a general lead or something like that. And then you can do that through the buyers and sellers kind of top level place. So so you can sort of see your sellers through across all properties from that top level sellers page.
Now, you can also change this email as well to whatever you'd like it to be. But essentially, this email is really sort of for back-end using or usage. So for your website, this would be a great place to sort of set that notification to go to.
Mm-hmm.
Now, on the buyer side of things, it works very similar. You're, again, given a completely different email address, and you'll use this in the same fashion. So let's say you are selling on Landwatch or Land.com or Landmodo. Those sites that you're going to register under, you're going to use this email address so that when somebody, let's say for example on Zillow, somebody's interested in your property, somebody's going to send you a message through that system. That message or that notification is going to come straight into your inbox here inside of Pebble. Mm-hmm. So again, you're going to use that email address. Now, the great thing again is that Pebble, it recognizes the source that it's coming from and is able to parse that information out. So say if it came from Zillow, it would know where that name's going to be, where that phone number is going to be, and organize all that information for you. Whereas if you had a regular email address, you would have to manually pull out that name, you have to manually pull out that phone number, and then throw that into a follow-up system or whatever you'd like to do with that. Mm-hmm. So again, it sort of cuts a lot of time, and when you're getting a lot of leads, Pebble is going to be able to sort that information ahead of time for you. So you're just essentially looking at the actual name, the email, and the contact that you have here, and also the property that it's assigned to. Mm-hmm. Now, on the buying side, for if you're an REI conversion user and you're using REI Land List, we have a plugin called the Property Content Lock. So we put our properties behind an opt-in form, and that property, let's say if somebody landed on that property on your website and they're interested in buying that website, once they enter in their information, that information will come right into Pebble as well, and it will be assigned to that property. There's a bit of setup that you need to do on your website side of things, but we have all that sort of laid out in our knowledge base. And as we're sort of getting things up and running, if we're missing any information, let us know. I'm always happy to help you out. But those leads on your website will also come into Pebble, as long as you set your notification email for your leads to whatever the inbox address of your buyer leads of your buyers is. Did I get that right, Kevin?
Yep, that's exactly right. Yep.
What else here am I missing? From here, you are able to, let's see here. I just wanted to show the Zapier section here. Is it not showing up here? Is it because I haven't connected it yet? Or
you might need to connect it. I can show it on my side if you want.
Sure. Let me just double check on this side. I guess it's going to be the same. Okay. So you can actually then work through your leads and bring them into a follow-up system if you'd like, or an autoresponder if you'd like. Kevin, I'll let you share your screen. Mm-hmm. I think I've stopped sharing my screen, right?
Yes. Okay. Can you see that again?
Yep, I can see your screen.
Okay, great. Yeah. So one thing that we know about about everybody's business is everybody's business sort of runs a different way, and some people have kind of CRM tools that they're used to using, like HubSpot or Follow Up Boss, or maybe you've got some generation tool that you use, and so what we want Pebble to be is sort of that central hub for your whole business. And so we want you to be able to very easily get information from Pebble out to the other tools that you use. And we're going to be adding a lot more integrations as we go. But one thing that we have kind of built in at the outset is the Zapier integration. We know that a lot of people use Zapier in our community. And so we've got that set up. So if you go over here to settings, you go to connected apps, and then there's this connect to Zapier button. So if you just click that, it's going to bring you to our Zapier integration. So what you can do is just click this accept and build a Zap, and that'll take you to your Zapier account. It'll have you log into Pebble and authorize Zapier, basically walk you through the flow of setting up your Zaps. So once you do that, we can actually show you how that'll work. Click there. We'll click, let's see here. Let's just create a Zap. Okay, so once we create a Zap, we've got a few things that we can do from Pebble. So we've got you can send buyer information out of Pebble, seller information, or property information. We're going to be adding to this as we go, but for right now, we'll say, let's say we want to track our buyers in, say, HubSpot or something. So we'll do send buyer, and then we'll click next. It's then going to ask us to choose our account. I'll just do add a new account. And this is going to bring me into my newly created Pebble account. So I'll say authorize Zapier. And then everything's good there. My email is correct. I'll click continue. And now we can start testing our trigger. So if I switch back over here to Pebble, let's see here. Yeah, Pebble. Okay, so let's go to, say, buyers. So I will create a test buyer. Okay, so I've just got an example buyer here. And you'll notice now, since I've connected Zapier, I now have this send to Zapier button. So this lets me sort of take in leads, like a buyer lead, fill out all my information, where it came from, the name, the email, all that stuff. And then when I've got all the information correct, let's say I want to do my follow-up in, say, HubSpot. Let's say I've got like automated like emails that go out, automated email sequence, or I've got like some reminders or tasks that I sort of manage my client relationship within HubSpot. So I can set up my HubSpot Zap, which I've done over here. I won't go through all the details to do this, but basically when I send a buyer in Pebble, it's going to create a ticket in HubSpot. So now when I click this send to Zapier button, it's going to succeed, say send to Zapier. So all of this information was just pushed to my my HubSpot or my Zapier account, which then creates my ticket in HubSpot. And then I can go into HubSpot and start managing the lead in there. And the great part about Zapier is this works for like everything, right? If I've got a MailerLite campaign, I can set this up to go into MailerLite. If I've got the
Pipedrive, whatever.
Pipedrive, yeah. There's a zillion things you can do. You can put things into Trello. You can do basically whatever you want to do.
And I think there's a few of you guys who may not be familiar with what Zapier is. It's sort of a bridging software to be able to, take information from one side and translate it to a different side. So, like Kevin said, you can take a buyer lead, and bring it, hit that send to Zapier, and it will go right to, let's say, MailerLite or MailChimp, and you can set up rules. Well, people who have this county should go into this specific email list or whatever it may be. So it sort of gives you that flexibility. And Pebble isn't really there to replace that whole full follow-up process, because everybody has a completely different process with that, approaches it differently. We know that systems like HubSpot, Follow Up Boss, they do a tremendous job in doing what they do, and it's a lot that they do inside of there. So we sort of give you that opportunity again to connect with those applications. Now, one other thing that you can actually also push out to Zapier is your properties.
Exactly, yep.
And this works very well with REI land lists. So if you guys are using and selling property with REI land lists, with the hit of a button, it goes through Zapier. And as long as you have the Zapier property listing, you can list your property on your site. Obviously, there's still certain things that you'll need to come in to set, like your price options and whatnot. That won't be inside of Pebble here, but for now, you'll just go into your REI land list, come to the property itself, and just add the remaining information and then hit publish. So you can always add those prices in your notes and get your VA to do that, whatever it might be. But yeah, so you can, again, push properties, seller leads, and buyer leads through Zapier. All right.
Okay.
That,
stop sharing my screen.
that is pretty much, let me just come back to my screen here. Let me pull this up here. So we've kind of gone through everything here on this agenda here. We've talked about the walkthrough of Pebble, setting up your campaigns, your mailing, your document editor. We've sort of talked about some of the more common things people have been asking as of recently, seller and buyer leads. We also covered properties, which I didn't have here listed. And then we also talked about integration. So with Zapier, and like Kevin, he uses HubSpot to start his follow-up system, and that can directly get pushed from Pebble right into HubSpot. Okay. Quickly before we get into Q&A, we actually have a Webinar Early Bird offer. So if you're interested in getting signed up, right now we are offering $179 per month for a yearly billing. So if you're on the monthly plan, it's $196 per month. Right now, you get a free month off if you sign up for the entire year. Under the early bird, we are offering, and I know a lot of you guys have been asking to sign up, you actually get an extra month for free. So it's $179 off the already discounted yearly pricing.
Hey, Jesse, are you sharing your screen right now?
Oh, sorry. Am I not?
Mine is saying it's still loading, but maybe that's just me. So.
Oh, sorry. No, I wasn't.
I think it's probably just me. So.
No.
Go ahead.
Do you see it now?
Yes, now I see it. Okay.
Sorry about that, guys.
Yep.
So I'll pull this down again. It's $179 per month for the yearly pricing, and then we're going to offer it today for an extra month off. So it's $19.69 for the year. A couple of things, you'll get grandfathered in, and then we'll also help you guys set up any Zapier connections. So we can help with Zapier connections, and we can also help with the website side of things. So if you want to get connected with the new land leads form, which you can obviously set up yourself as well, but we can go in there and get everything set up for you so that your land leads or your buying side can actually intake those codes, those unique codes that Pebble generate, and it'll come right into your Pebble account. And the other way around as well, on the buyer side, we can set up that form so that anybody who submits their contact on a specific property, that property will be routed into Pebble. So if you're interested, this offer ends on Friday, pretty much midnight Eastern time. And what we'll essentially do is you'll send us an email, just let us know that you're an early bird, just put in the subject line, I'm an early bird, and we'll actually credit your account entire month of $179 back to you. So that is there for you guys. So again, that all ends this Friday if you are looking to automate your land investing with Pebble. Okay, well, let's just jump right into it. I know sort of time, we are running out of time here. So I'm going to open up the chat, and hopefully you guys have, let's see here. Hopefully you guys have wrote down some of your questions. Go ahead, guys. Why don't you fire off some of the questions you might have, and we'll just sort of jump in this. Okay, Robin asks, how does pricing compare to letterprinting.net for mailers? So you can always find the pricing if you head over to, and let me see, am I still sharing my screen here?
Yes.
Okay.
So if you go over to settings, you'll see the pricing. Or
yeah, you'll head over to settings. Oh, right. You can go to settings, or if you don't have an account yet, you can come to the marketing page here or our homepage and scroll down to the mailing section here, and you'll be able to see the print and mailing dates here. That'll show up here for you guys. Next question. How about setting up multiple accounts to same Pebble to delegate access for others, especially VAs? So that's a great question. So right now we don't have multiple account access. Right now you'd be sharing that account. It is something that we're looking at. And that is
it will be coming. Yeah.
Yeah, that is something that we've been discussing quite a bit. So it is going to be something that'll be rolling out.
Robin is asking, can you have multiple delivery addresses for your company? So this, I assume this would be return addresses, correct? Maybe, I assume that's what you mean. Right now, we only have one address, so you'll only have one return address for all of your mailers. But I think we can make that happen. So that's a good question, and I think we'll create a card for that and be able to.
I mean, if you can shoot us an email later and sort of explain the use case for that as well, and help us understand the need for multiple delivery addresses.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Jen asked the same question about VAs. We sort of answered that. Sorry, I cut you off there, Kevin.
Yep, and then auto-generating reference codes. So currently, we have to auto-generate our reference codes because they're unique across every property in Pebble. So the tricky part is that if you start uploading your own property codes, they might conflict with others. So we'll probably keep it so that Pebble just generates their own. But stay tuned in the future. We are going to add custom fields to be able to kind of add your own information to properties. So you might be able to handle it that way. So stay tuned for that.
Robin asks, is the placeholder for address so the mailer is sent via a window envelope that people don't open? Is the placeholder for the address? Yes, that's right. It is for a window envelope. That's what you're asking. Mm-hmm. Can you create your own labels from your CSV? Include in mailer, middle name. What about multiple templates for mail? Okay, so can you create your own labels for your CSV to include in the mailer? I'm assuming
currently not, but like we said, we're going to be adding some custom field features very shortly, so that will, I think, solve your problem.
What about multiple templates for mailers, not purchasing fees? Yeah, you can have multiple different versions for mailers. You can have as many as you'd like. You can.
And you can also create, if you just wanted to type out your own contract, you can just start with, say, a deed or a purchase contract and just delete everything in there and type out your own or copy yours from Word. As long as the placeholders exist that fill out the information that you need, then you can just do it that way.
One of the cool things here, like I'm sort of sidetracking here, you're talking about multiple templates for mailers, and what's really cool with Pebble you can do is you can, for example, have a single list and you can split into half, and then have one version go, have half that list go to use a certain template and the other half use a different template if you wanted to, and run those campaigns simultaneously. And you can really sort of drill down on which one actually performs better, sort of doing split tests on those. So you can run multiple split tests. You can run multiple campaigns at a time. You don't need to do them one at a time. So if you're working out of multiple counties as well, you can be doing that all at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Jen is asking, can you import properties that were purchased outside of mailers? So like if you just wanted to import a list of your current inventory. What I would suggest is just create a campaign and call it like my current inventory and just import your spreadsheet with all your existing properties, even if it's just like 10 or something. That'll just get those properties into Pebble, and then you can go and delete the campaign. Obviously, you won't be mailing to your existing inventory. And then you'll just have those properties there. You can go add images then and documents if you need to. Just do it through a campaign. That should work.
Robin has another question here. Can you implement digital signatures into the mailing via email with a service as an add-on? So that's something we've discussed, but currently we don't have sort of any digital signatures implemented right now.
We're looking to make that work. For now, what you would do is just create your deed or your purchase contract or whatever in Pebble, and then it's going to generate that PDF. You download it to your computer and then upload it to DocuSign or EverSign or whatever the ones you want. Yeah.
Gordon asks, does the price include template letters, and does it come with buying and selling websites? Okay, so it does include, we do have a library of templates that you can use, and that'll sort of be something that we'll continue to add on. Does it come with buying and selling websites? No, it doesn't come with buying and selling websites. So if you're interested in the buying and selling website, head over to reiconversion.com. They are not sort of under the same system. So,
Frank is asking, do we prep and scrub our lists from Agent Pro outside of Pebble and then upload them in? Yes. So you'll still be doing your scrubbing kind of in Excel or whatever tool you're using today. Stay tuned. We've got some ideas for how we can sort of automate some of that scrubbing. That'll probably be in a few months maybe, but we're looking to kind of take some of that burden off of you. So we're hoping to do that.
Jen asks, I might have missed this. Can you import properties that were purchased outside of mailers?
Yeah, this was where you import through a campaign.
Yeah.
So you just create a campaign, import a spreadsheet that way. Can we add a field for custom reference numbers? Robert, today, what you could use, so we've got a few fields. When you import a list, you'll see that there's like APN and counties, assessor number, and there's a few other ones. What I'd suggest you do is just choose one that you're not currently using and just put that reference number in there, and then you'll be able to search by that reference number and it'll show up on all your properties. We are going to add some custom field abilities, so you'll be able to add your own fields. That's going to come soon. But in the meantime, I just suggest using that account number or neighborhood or subdivision or something that you're not using, and just put that reference number in there.
What about leads that are, I don't know if you answered this, what about leads that are not from mailers that are brought into via search? What about leads that are not from mailers? I see. Yeah, I mean, if you don't have a property on there, then you're not going to be able to assign it to any property, right? If you did not upload that into Pebble, you wouldn't, I mean, you could have the lead sitting in there. You can do whatever you'd like with it. In fact, you could probably still push that out to Zapier, right? But you just won't have that property attached to it. That's all.
Yep. Callan is asking, is there a way to manage the results of a campaign, like see the amount of sellers that contacted you versus parcels sold? Currently not, but we're hoping to add some of that sort of data analytics stuff soon, so that you will be able to say, this campaign got a 3% response rate or whatever it might be. Yes, we are looking to add some of those features, so stay tuned for that.
Did we talk about, Chris, do you find the difference with windowed envelopes versus non-windowed envelopes as far as response rates? I don't have any information on that. So it's something that you may want to look at, but I think at the end of the day, what really matters is getting your mailers out there. Mm-hmm. I mean, you could possibly see a difference depending on what you do, but there's a lot of variables to that. So, what exactly are you doing? Yeah. Does this integrate with lead pages? So, yeah, this could work with lead pages, absolutely. So when you're submitting now I'm assuming this is you're having a lead page or an opt-in page for a specific property. Yeah, so the same thing that how it would work is you would basically assign that the notification email from lead pages, your buyer inbox email address, so that whatever comes through from lead pages will go right into your buyer inbox. Now, how they sort out that information, it won't be parsed. You will probably have to manually pull that information out. Am I correct?
Yeah, and Jen, let us know if you're going to do this and you start getting some emails in that you're getting from lead pages. Let us know, and we can. I'll go in and make sure that we can pull out that information correctly. So, reach out to us if you get stuck. But yeah, as long as your system can send an email, you just give it the email address for your Pebble buyer's inbox or your Pebble seller inbox, and then it should land in there.
Robert asked, can you import, I don't know if you talked about this one, can you import data from other tools, Airtable, if we are migrating to your system?
Yes. So, yeah, if Airtable can export to CSV, then you can import that stuff right into Pebble. What you probably do is if you had like 10,000 properties in your Airtable, just download those all into one giant CSV and then upload those into some campaign in Pebble, and then you'll have all that data there. We're looking to also provide the ability to import data from Zapier or from other data sources. That'll be coming soon. But in the meantime, if you can get it into a CSV, then you can import it into Pebble.
That goes to saying that also means, if you're using any other CRM specifically for land, and you are looking to migrate your data from those systems, talk to us. We can make that happen for you. There's a couple sort of more prominent land investing tools out there that you may know of or are using. So if you're using those and want to move over, we will help you with that. And it's sort of a service that we can provide for you guys. Mm-hmm. Is this workable on mobile?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think we're one of the very few solutions that does work pretty well on mobile. So if you load the app on your phone, it will look nice, and you've got there'll be a menu that you can open up a sidebar and kind of navigate around. We're going to be tweaking that and adding to it as we go, but yes, it does work on mobile.
Yep, which is awesome. So Robin said, the email account that was used for creating, say, Craigslist Zillow, would it be the same email for buyer Pebble that you list with this? This could be a problem. Can you at some point provide us an option to not use? Okay, sorry, I think this is two questions here.
The email account that was used for creating ads saying Craigslist would be the same as your Pebble buyer email. Yes. Yes. So when you when you sign up for your Craigslist account, it'll have like an email, like a notification email in there. You'll give that your Pebble buyer's inbox, and then any leads that come in through Craigslist will land in your Pebble inbox.
Now, if you said that this could be a problem, it's just an email address, but you can always, if you wanted to, create a Gmail account and then forward into this email if you'd like, for whatever reason it might be.
Mm-hmm.
I can't foresee any of that. Can you at some point provide us an option to not use windowed envelope? So right now we don't have any plans of going away from windowed. It's sort of the way our system works, but it could be something that we'll explore down the road. Hey, thanks, Joe. Great job. Awesome software, guys. Awesome.
Thanks.
Robin said maybe we should forward to this account. Said, yeah, you have that option to do so as well. So if you wanted to create unique email addresses with Gmail or whatever it might be, and then forward it into, it shouldn't be a problem. Yeah. All right. We're gonna stick around for another couple minutes here. Get your questions in. I think we're getting ready to wrap up here. We will make this available online to watch. And I'm hoping to get this out by tomorrow. I know because we have an early bird offer on here, I want to make sure the people that couldn't attend it live get a chance to actually jump on the early bird as well. Will you have software as a free trial to get? Yeah. So Robert, this is now completely free to try up until actually sending your mail. So you can set up everything. You can get it to the point where you're about to hit your activate button. You can test out pretty much everything in there. And yeah, you've got free access. So right now there is no credit card required to set up. So if you head over to pebblerei.com and start for free today.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Hey.
Also, we should mention there's no setup fees for using Pebble.
Right.
So, yeah, I know that it can be a kind of a sticky situation when you want to sign up for something and you got to pay hundreds of dollars as a setup fee and then go through a very complicated setup process. None of that happens with Pebble. You can start mailing in 10 minutes if you want to. No setup fees.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I do know some of you guys that are locked into or have paid a setup fee. Come talk to us. We will figure something out for you to help you bring over your data. And you have neighbor letters too, so
yeah,
you use neighbors. Yep, exactly.
Yep, you can use it for neighbor letters. You can also include your property images on neighbor letters. So if you've got like an aerial map and you want to include that right in your neighbor letter, you just check a box next to that image. It'll put it right on that neighbor letter and send it out. So real quick.
Colin asks, any formal roadmap for Pebble like RE convergence sites? We will have some sort of a roadmap. I don't want to say it's formal, though Kevin would probably no, I don't know what Kevin would say about that. But,
roadmaps are scary because you never know what's going to pop up and you got to hop on things. So I think we're going to try to do maybe like a feature voting something where people can give us feedback of what they want to see. So,
Colin, I think what we're also going to do is end up having sort of an open dialogue, with the Facebook group is really important. And once every few months, we will, or once a month, we're still figuring that out. We're going to host a webinar where we can talk about the new features that were released, things that we're thinking about and rolling out. We are sort of a cozy sized team here. So I wouldn't call it a formal roadmap. Okay, guys. If there's no other questions, really appreciate you guys coming out to join us and sort of sit through and watch how this all works. Again, it's super easy to get started. You can create your free account today. If you'd like to take advantage of that early bird, make sure you sign up for the yearly plan. Shoot us an email and just in the subject line just say, hey, I'm an early bird. Make sure you do that before midnight Eastern on Friday, and my team will take care of it over the weekend or probably Monday. Well, it'll probably get looked over on the weekend. But other than that, thanks again. Kevin, any last words or anything I'm missing here?
No, we appreciate all the great comments and all the feedback. And this is just starting. We just launched last week. I can promise you that we will be adding tons of awesome new features as we go. So the great part is if you sign up, you can look forward to great new stuff every month. So
Yeah. Awesome. Well, guys, get your mailers out there. Have a great evening or morning wherever you are. And yeah, we will talk to you soon.
thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.